Gene Simmons, mate. That's who I am. You better watch out, 'cause I'm a war machine. Anyways, let me apologise for doing that at this time of night. What was the second thing I was going to talk about? Right, so the two AJs. So I'll do it in one video and split it into two. AJ Styles, there's this rumour that has gone around, if you believe what you read on the internet, that there have been a lot of TNA guys that are concerned about their futures and are considering leaving. Now, there was rumours that Sting was one of them. There was rumours about Bobby Roode. There was rumours about James Storm. There was rumours about a lot of different people. Now, I never heard the name AJ Styles until recently, when it turned out that he's negotiating his contract and he is apparently contemplating going elsewhere. And he posted something on his Facebook saying where should he go next. Should he stay in TNA? Should he go to Japan? Should he go to Ring of Honor? Or should he try his luck in WWE? And it has come out that there's a chance that he might talk to WWE, or feelers out might be sent to him or from to them, or I can't remember how it works out. But the rumor going around online is that we may see AJ Styles in WWE. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's 100%, but there might be some kind of discussion between the two parties. Now, what do I think about that? What am I gonna say? AJ Styles going to WWE would surprise me, because he is a TNA mainstay, much like Sting was a WCW NWA mainstay. Pardon me. I view AJ Styles in the same light. AJ Styles was the homegrown guy that they had built from the very first weekly pay-per-view, where he was he was in that 6-man tag with Jerry Lynn and Loki against the Flying Officers, to the second pay-per-view where he was the main event with the X Division title, the first X Division title match on television, and he won. He's always been a guy that they've been trying to build, and a guy that they've been trying to make into the man. And they made him NWA World Champion in 2003. And while he had great matches, he didn't have that presence that you thought he would need. And some of that is him, and some of that was them and how they presented him. They tried to do the same thing again in 2004, when he won the belt for about 4 weeks, I think, or maybe even less than that, and then he lost it back to Jeff Jarrett. They tried the same thing again in 2005 with AJ Styles, when he beat Jeff Jarrett again, and had Tito Ortiz as a guest referee, and they looked like they were going on the AJ Styles boat. Again, they took the belt off of him after a month. They didn't really do anything like that in 2006. They pushed him at his strengths as a phenomenal in-ring, elite-level pro wrestler in the unique and dynamic X Division, with the likes of Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and Chris Sabin, and it looked like that was his place, the X Division. Then he was kind of pushed down, was more presented as an idiot or a bumbling buffoon to Christian. Then booking changed a lot around that time, and he was de-emphasized more and more and more, and was like a sidekick. Then he got his face turned. Then they tried that same thing again, where they pushed AJ as the guy, and then again they kind of pulled the rug from underneath him. And it's just been this constant back and forth thing with TNA, where they want to do something with AJ Styles, but they kind of don't know what to do. And they put him in this position, and then they change their minds, and they get cold feet, and something happens. And throughout those years, I've never once heard him contemplate going to WWE. I know he was offered a deal way back in the day in 2001, but he didn't want to go, because at the time his wife was studying in college. It just wasn't a feasible thing for them to do. And it was quite a nice thing, supportive of his wife, blah blah blah. And throughout the years, I've heard him talk about WWE, and he kind of almost does come off as a bit of a snob in some respects. The way he talks, like, they don't have any guys that can wrestle there, guys. I got guys like Gerald Lynn, Low-Key, Mason Red, who they have in WWE. Got guys like A-Train. I hope he don't come here to WWE. If you ever hear him do interviews, you'll know what I mean. You'll hear the way he talks, and it does come off like, knowing the way that WWE operates, they don't like shit like that, and they'll want to try and bring him down a peg or two, which makes me concerned if he does sign there, what they might do. And I'll get onto that again in a bit. And I've never really heard AJ express interest. He's always gone, well, they ain't got any guys that can wrestle. Blah, blah, blah. That may have been true at times, but I don't think that's entirely true. And yeah, now let me think, because I've lost my train of thought here. So the latest thing they did was that Claire Lynch storyline, which led to, you know, the wackiness that went on there. Then they had that Bound for Glory match, and the loser doesn't get a shot for a year, and he was the one that lost. And then they went in a different direction with AJ, and they did this dark, tormented, tortured character, which I talked about in another video, so I don't need to go into great detail about. But that character seemed to fail and not connect with the audience in the way that they hoped. They wanted this in their minds to be the next Sting, and I've explained in that video why that didn't work. And I felt that one of the reasons why is because he doesn't have that big, overly charismatic presence like someone like Sting did, because he was able to pull it off. Like a Steve Austin or a Ric Flair or The Rock, or all of these guys that they've tried to make him into, AJ doesn't necessarily have that. And it looked like it was a character that wasn't working. It was a good idea, but it wasn't working. And they have now gone back to the old AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles. And they've done this, and it looks like, to me, it's an effort to try and get him to stay again. I'll be honest, if anyone could have pulled that character off, that tortured character, it would have been James Storm, because it could fit with him. But they didn't really go there. Anyways, God, bloody hell, hay fever. Picking out my nasal hair. Really lovely to look at, isn't it? AJ Styles, it's now rumoured that he might go there to WWE. Now, what would happen? What do I think could happen there? I think that there's a good chance that he could end up there, but I'm not saying 100%. Things are seemingly changing in the WWE. You're seeing a guy like Daniel Bryan getting a lot of opportunities there. You're seeing a guy like CM Punk really excel and do well down there. You're seeing guys like The Shield doing really well down there, like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Again, internet darlings that had a great name for themselves on the independent scene and overseas. You're seeing a lot of people, independent standouts, getting signed there. And AJ Styles is clearly on par with a lot of those guys in ring-wise. And he is someone that, you know, would be a very interesting fit in the WWE. The one thing that the things that I think might work against him, and I don't think it's his size, the things that I think might work against him is that one of the reasons why Bryan has done as well as he has done is because Bryan actually is quite a good promo and he's very charismatic. And a lot of people are like, no, he's not. Well, he is, because he's had the entire world going on one word, yes. And he, you know, Bryan has those things going for him. Bryan can cut a promo. He doesn't look out of place. People pay attention to what he says. He's very articulate. It works. CM Punk, need I say more, is an excellent promo. Dean Ambrose is very good there. Seth Rollins is solid down there, but he's part of a package and it works for him. And you're seeing a lot of, Anyways, the thing is, AJ's weakness is that he's not the best interviewer in the world. So when he's a heel, he can actually be quite good. But as far as carrying a long promo and long promos and storytelling, which WWE relies on heavily, that soap opera element, I don't see AJ as being that kind of guy that can work there. I can see him being the guy that has the great matches and filling in that void, maybe that a Chris Benoit, had left, or a Kurt Angle had left in some respects. I can see him fitting that kind of, criteria. And I think that might frustrate fans of his, because if he goes there, they're going to see him have these matches, but they might not go all the way with him because of his shortcomings. And you have to be honest, he does have his shortcomings. As good as he is, he has a great look, he's very athletic, very innovative, fun to watch, great seller. When he comes out, he has charisma when he wrestles, but he's not the most charismatic when you put the microphone in front of him. And I think that hurts him, and it might frustrate people when they think he should be WWE champion or he should be world heavyweight champion, and it doesn't necessarily work out there. And I would love to see him in there with a Dolph Ziggler. I'd love to see him in there with a Daniel Bryan on their TV and a CM Punk on their TV, but those shortcomings need to be worked on. Now, perhaps that could be remedied if he got signed by having Paul Heyman introduce him, and he's Paul Heyman's new Paul Heyman guy. That could be interesting. That could really work. I think he's significantly better on the stick than Curtis Axel, and I think he could carry that role really well. The other thing that I think will hurt him is that he has made those comments that he's made in interviews before, and you know how that company is about people, especially guys that were made elsewhere. We've seen that track record. It's not so bad with guys like Daniel Bryan and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, but we have seen it with other guys like Chris Harris, who got signed, and they told they told him he didn't know what he was doing. He had no right to think he was this big star and that he couldn't work. Blah blah blah, and then they sent, and then we've seen other guys get sent to NXT or FCW or OVW to be retooled and to be taught how to work again. And again, that could happen to AJ Styles, and I know fans might not like that, which is going to be interesting. And I can understand why fans don't like that, because AJ is capable in that respect. It's just on the microphone. But I do understand why they need to do that sometimes. If you look at what happened to Sin Cara, he was a big deal in Mexico as Mystico, and everyone thought he was one of the top 5 workers within the world. But when he came to WWE and he didn't have time to learn the style and have a guy that he could work with every single night that understood the Lucha Libre style but knew the WWE style and could help him adjust, he was lost out there, and now he is not what people thought he could have been. And I don't want to see that happen to AJ Styles. So in a sense, that might be necessary that he has to go through that. So I'm drying out, and I really need to just stop right now. What could happen if he ends up there? I don't know. What do you think is going to happen there? The second AJ that I want to talk about is AJ Lee, and I'll touch on it briefly because time's running out and I've got to do some things. What did everyone think of AJ Lee's promo? I thought that was great. I loved it. It felt genuine within the circumstances of the company, that you've got her and what she does, and she's a wrestler and she's, worked hard in her mind, and now you've got these, model reality TV show models, because they're not good anywhere else, and they can't touch her, and this is supposed to be a heel, but the fact is, what she said was true, and a lot of people supported her in that, and she left that promo with cheers and chants, and I thought it was very interesting watching that, and it makes me wonder where they're going to go. I've always felt that WWE needs to rebuild their Divas division, and I think that they've got some interesting characters in AJ Lee. They've got an excellent worker in Natalya, who comes off as very sympathetic in the Total Divas show, but that kind of stops there. And in developmental, they've got Paige, who should be on the roster, but apparently there's, concerns about her age, so they don't want to put her on just yet. But I think it's time that they really reinvest in their division, because you've got Calamity Jane, Rosa Mendez. You've got Layla, who barely appears on TV anymore. You've got, who else? I can't think of anyone. The Bellas, they're nice to look at, but it stops there. Naomi, who I like, who I think is very talented, but needs to break away from that head case area on. Oh, God, don't start me on her. Listen, any woman that fucking uses the Bandcam makes me want to unscrew the top of my head and get my brain and swirl it around so I can forget that term. She is irritating. She just sounds like a valley girl. Oh, God. Listen, I better not go off on a rant right now. But the fact is, it's slim pickings in the women's division, and I think that what AJ Lee said hit home on a lot of things, and it was very interesting seeing that. I'm going to stop. I'm going to upload these 2 videos. Guys, let me know what you think. I'm apologising. These are not my best videos. I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things. If you haven't seen this before, if you haven't watched this before, I'm Buff Been Stuffed. Subscribe to my channel. I do videos on MMA, wrestling. I'll probably be doing some stuff on comic books. I know everyone's up in arms about Ben Affleck. I'll talk about that in another video. Guys, I'm out. Let me know what you think. Take care. Bye. Peace. Love you all. Subscribe. Boy.